Well, if you recall in the first segment, there was a reporter that mentioned there's this guy, Ian, that all the reporters were trying to get their questions in and hopefully get some of them answered, and they're not, by the way. And the question here from Ed is, well, why not bring the guy on the podium so all the American public can watch this, just as myself and all of you, report on it, and then we can finally see what's really going on under the hood, rather than keeping this out of the spotlight from the American public. And that was the main question. Why are you hiding this from the American public? Why are we not getting people on the podium seeing this in real time with their own eyes and ears? What's going on? So Ed here calls it out.
Thank you, Karine. Just two quick, how we all do our jobs around here questions, and then one or two on the president. Why not have Ian brief in here?
Well, Ian was outside and took your questions.
But why not in here like other government officials?
Again, Ian was outside and took your question, and he's been doing that for the last 4 weeks.
Would the White House have revealed today's search if pool cameras hadn't caught the investigators arriving on scene?
Again, this is a question for the White House Counsel's office. I would refer you to them.
You guys, this is a clear indicator. They are hiding information from all of us. They don't want people on that podium. They don't want you to see something. That's why she's like, well, the guy's out, he was outside talking to you. Good. So if he's able to do it 40 feet away, he can do it on that podium and answer their questions in front of all of us. They're not willing to do it. You guys, there is something massive going on here. I am in full belief now. Full belief. There is some major cover up. There is something going on. And I can't wait till it's found out. I can't wait. I'm thinking about doing a video this Sunday on kind of doing the spider web for all of you and kind of connecting the dots. If I have time, I'm going to do that video Sunday to sit there and kind of show what I think is actually happening here under the radar, but I need a full video to do it. So if I have time, you guys, I will try my best to get it into you. But Ed continues here.
Today's perhaps the best example yet of the new era of divided government. There were Republican oversight hearings being held today into the administration's border security and pandemic policy, president's meeting with the speaker. Can you remind us, what is the level of cooperation or legitimate back and forth you're willing to have with a Republican-led House when they're holding these investigations?
Say that. Say a little bit more so I understand.
Okay. Border security
Yeah.
policy is one thing. Pandemic policy, how money was spent, is another. What does the White House consider to be the kind of oversight and inquiries from congressional committees that you're willing to engage in, and what is not?
So look, as it relates to the Oversight Committee, and I've said this many times before, look, we're willing to work with Republicans, House Republicans, on important priorities that matter to the American people, like lowering costs for Americans, as they said was really important going into the midterm elections. That's what we want to focus on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The spending that they want to do. So at the same time, she's talking about the issues that the American people want, right? Top of mind for the American people is what she said earlier. American people don't want $31.5 trillion of debt, Karine. They don't want that. I don't want that. They don't want to owe the government $240,000 or $95,000 per citizen. They don't want to do that. How about that being an issue? But no. His number one issue for the president, he's doing all these things. You guys, it's lie after lie after lie. There's not a truthful thing that's come out of her mouth yet.
We want to focus on the priorities that matter to the American people. We're not interested in engaging in political stunts, and we want to move past the constant political warfare, as we continue to see from Republicans, sadly. And again, let's not forget, when Americans went out to vote in the midterms, they said they wanted to see less of that. They actually wanted to see bipartisanship. As it relates to any specific...
Okay. So if they want to see bipartisanship, then why is the president not willing to work with Congress, the House, the GOP, on creating a budget that actually works? Why are you telling Congress needs to just, let's just increase the limit, let's just keep throwing more debt? If American people don't want that, and if they want bipartisanship, then why are you just having Congress push forward an agenda that's not bipartisanship? It doesn't make any sense to me, like whatsoever. If you want bipartisanship, you would think Democrats would be on board with going, yeah, we need to figure this out. This is a major issue here of us spending $31 trillion in total, and we don't even have it. Mind blowing.
To the Oversight Committee, I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel's office.
There was a local news report.
So Ed just continues with some locality information there, but I really want to get into kind of the gist of the amount of reporters that are completely baffled from Karine Jean-Pierre's messaging on just increasing the debt limit willy-nilly and not actually going through and creating some sort of reform, while at the same time saying that the president does want to have negotiations with getting the budget under control. And everybody in the room is confused. And finally, it just comes out in the open here. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Thank you. One more on the deficit reduction talks as it relates to the debt limit. So is the position of the White House that you don't want to negotiate, obviously, on the debt limit? That needs to happen. You say Congress needs to do that without conditions. So would that mean that any bipartisan proposal that the president agreed to as it relates to deficit reduction or debt reduction would have to happen after Congress raised the debt limit?
Well, I mean,
I guess I'm just trying to figure out sort of the process here, like what's step one and what's step two.
I don't think there's just one step. And the step is they need to live up to their congressional obligation. That's their constitutional obligation, to be even more specific, which is lifting the debt ceiling, something that was done 3 times under the last president. And I've mentioned the number 78 many times because it's happened 78 times since 1960s.
As we said in the other segment, literally that is her logic. Because it's happened and people keep making stupid mistakes or stupid decisions, let's keep making stupid mistakes and stupid decisions because they've done it in the past. That is her logic. That is insane. That is insane logic. Can you imagine giving somebody financial advice with their personal finance of like, you know what? Yeah, you've been putting everything on credit, taking out exorbitant amount of credit and debt that you don't have the financial ability to even pay off the liability that you're doing, but keep doing it. No, this is great. You're definitely going to become wealthy in life if you keep doing this. No, this is a great plan going forward. Screw retirement. Keep taking out credit. Keep putting everything on those credit cards. Great idea. Why? Oh, because you did it. Your father did it. Your grandfather did it. I mean, your whole family lineage has done it. They've done it 78 times. Why not? You just keep doing it then. Great financial advice, you idiot, Karine. Oh my God.
49 times under Republican president, 29 times under Democratic president. This is something that the speaker himself voted on 3 times in the last administration. So
and they were all
there's
wrong.
only one step here, and the one step is to do this without conditions.
The president has said, and you have said from this podium, that he is open to these negotiations and potential legislation, right, on deficit and debt, right?
When we're talking about the national deficit, when we're talking about lowering that, the president is willing to have a good faith conversation, which is something that he's prioritized, right? We mentioned the $1.7 billion that he was able to lower the deficit, and because of the economic policies that he's moved forward with. So he takes that very, very seriously. Now,
do you guys see the confusion here? Am I the only one that's realizing that what she's saying isn't in totality making sense? And that's what his original question was, well, what comes first? What's like step 1 and then step 2? And she goes, well, there is no step 1 and step 2. Raise the debt ceiling, and the president's also willing to negotiate on a budget and kind of figure this whole thing out. So, as he mentioned, do we raise the debt ceiling and then talk about fixing the budget? Or can we talk about fixing the budget and then raising the ceiling? Or can we fix the budget so that the ceiling doesn't necessarily need to be raised? Or do you understand the craziness that's happening here? Again, I'm not the only person that's confused. All the reporters in the room are confused, and we'll have another segment in just one moment.
if they want to have a good faith conversation about that, he's willing to listen. But right now, all we have heard from the Republicans in the House, to be very specific, the extreme Republicans in the House, to be even more specific, is that they want to cut.
How about you name their names if you're going to be so specific? Well, there's Republicans and there's extreme Republicans and there's the ultra MAGA Republicans. It's like, okay, well, who are they? And what is so extreme? You want to finally talk about cutting Medicare, Medicaid, and the social programs that make up $6.6 trillion of the federal budget. 70% of the federal budget goes towards social programs. And God forbid somebody actually starts talking about things that, yes, are going to impact people in a negative way, but they still need to be talked about because some people are going to be affected rather than everybody being affected with this 31.5 ever increasing trillion dollar deficit.
Medicare, they want to cut Social Security, hold that hostage, which is something that should not be done. It would lead us into chaos. So it is a direction that we think is wrong, a direction that should not be taken. We think that when it comes to lifting the debt ceiling, it should be done without conditions.
That part's clear, right? That just do it without conditions. Just be an idiot and just go, oh, yeah, this is great, let's do it. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.